After multiple listening events, so many controversies, and dropping the album and then undropping it, Kanye West's new album Vultures is finally here to stay in the world, and I don't think it could have came at a crazier time. Now, after randomly dropping out of nowhere and getting no promotion from the traditional sectors of the music industry, Vultures has already taken the world by storm, reaching #1 on the Apple Music charts, and despite the fact that Apple removed it from the charts after reaching #1 originally, which is on top of the fact that they are doing everything in their power to promote Usher and his new album Coming Home and hide Kanye's new record, Vultures is dominating regardless of what the industry is trying to dictate, and this is because the music is speaking for itself. Vultures has already proven itself to be a more than welcome addition to Kanye West's iconic catalog as over everything. It continues to push Ye's artistry forward and show us versions of him that we have never seen before. When we look at this album as a full-length experience, it really holds a place in Kanye's catalog like no other. Serving as his first independent project 20 years to the day after the release of his debut album The College Dropout, and of course after so much has happened in his personal life and career. By every sense of the word, this album marks a new era for Kanye West, and while so much has changed about this version of Ye that we see, a lot is still the same as his signature traits are still shining stronger than ever. From start to finish, Vultures is an experience that carries the type of spectacle and larger-than-life feeling that all Kanye albums need to thrive, and from the array of features to the presentation of the entire project, Kanye proves to us here why he is still one of the greatest visionaries in all of hip-hop. Now, when we look at the success of Vultures, I think there's no better place to start than in the curation of this project. Clocking in with 16 tracks that run over the course of 56 minutes, Vultures isn't as long of a record like Donda, but it also isn't as short of an album like Ye or Jesus is King, and as a result, we get one of Kanye's most cohesive and complete albums in quite some time. Where an album like Donda had so many great moments and songs, but suffered because of the messy pacing and overabundance of tracks that just made the record run for way too long, Vultures feels like a record that was way more thought through, and this is also reflected in the quality of the performances and the soundscapes as well. Where some tracks on Donda felt incomplete, whether it was because of Kanye's unfinished verses or the instrumentals, which still felt relatively hollow and not fully actualized. On Vultures, from Kanye's verses both introspective and comedic to the production, every single thing on this record feels much more visceral and alive, and this really immerses you in the world that Ye is putting together. The intro track Stars immediately sets this tone between its gospel choir and its washed out instrumental, which makes you feel like you are transcending into another world, and from here, the record does a great job at keeping you on your feet. Now, when it comes to the state of both the production and the quality of Kanye's verses, I think one of the reasons why we got the record we did is because of the actual circle of artists that were working around Ye on this album. From seasoned writers like Shy the Prince and former Drake ghostwriter Quentin Miller to experimental hip-hop titan JPEG Mafia, who added some of the most exciting touches in the beat department on the entire record. Everybody who worked on this album clearly wanted to make something special, and this is embodied by anybody better than, of course, Ty Dolla. Now, after asserting himself as an absolute professional in the music industry, delivering quality feature after quality feature with pretty much every artist that you can ever think of, Ty Dolla has further cemented himself as one of the greatest collaborators the hip-hop world has ever seen, as his ability to play off Ye's ideas and polish a lot of these tracks with his own performances and hooks are just top class. Now, it's pretty much near impossible to share the stage with an artist as larger than life and creatively dominant as Kanye West, and a seasoned artist like Ty Dolla definitely understood this, and while this record is technically a collab album, Ty is really playing second string to Kanye in every way possible, but this actually benefits the experience. At the end of the day, from the album cover to everything surrounding the record, we know that this record is Kanye's statement to the world first, but I don't think that takes away from what Ty contributes to this album at all. Ty's crisp vocals and polished singing play so well off the more unhinged and unpredictable version of Ye that we see, and this allows for some serious highlights. Now, while Ty is definitely the most important collaborator to this album, The feature list on this project near perfectly added to the world and feel that Vultures does such a commendable job of immersing us in. I think rappers like Lil Durk, Quavo, and YG really showed up on their respective tracks, and Northwest delivered one of the most memorable performances on the entire LP, but out of all of the featured guests, the verse that stood out most to me is hands down Freddie Gibbs on Back to Me, which on the tail end of one of the most catchy and also strangely hilarious songs on the project. None other than Freddie Gibbs shows the entire world just how crazy of an MC he is, and this is not just one of the best moments on the record, but one of the best in hip-hop in recent memory. Now, alongside Freddie Gibbs, I think Playboi Carti also deserves a mention for just helping add to the experimental and dark feel of the album in his two guest appearances on the tracks Carnival and F-Some, which are both two of the most maddening bangers that I have heard in so long. From the echoing crowd to Kanye sampling his My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy track Hell of a Life to get around some sample issues with Ozzy Osbourne. This anthem between Ye, Carti, Ty, and Rich the Kid is one for the ages, and F-Some with Kanye, Ty, Carti, and Travis Scott is just as crazy of a song, and I am sure these tracks are going to be absolutely insane to hear live with their aggressive energy and commanding performances. Now, all of these factors strengthen the record and definitely make it a lot more exciting, but at the end of the day, the reason why Vultures is already receiving the reception it is because of what Kanye West is doing at the center of it all. When we look at Ye's performance on this album, the only way I can even sum it up is by calling it all over the place, and I'm not saying this necessarily in a bad way, as I think this actually is the factor that has been so vital to all of the album's success and praise so far. From house to experimental hip-hop, Kanye plays with and bends together so many different styles on this record that all allow for him to go in just about any direction that he wants. From catchy up-tempo anthems like Paid and Back to Me to abrasive tracks like Hood Rat and Paperwork, Kanye really flexes his artistic prowess in an array of different areas, and this enables him to rap in a way that is extremely dynamic. Now, beyond this, when it comes to what Kanye's actually rapping about on this album, you can pretty much divide what he's talking about into two categories. On one side, we have possibly the most superficial version of Kanye West that we have ever seen, and while hearing Kanye just blab about the most outlandish things could seem annoying on paper, I think on a record that one of its main goals is just to deliver bangers that are meant to be heard and enjoyed by the masses, this actually kinda works. Even when Kanye telling us about how he prefers his women just starts to get a little too mind-numbing. His witty bravado usually can carry him through the weakest of bars, and beyond this, the surreal production on this record never lets down, as this is easily one of the best produced albums I have heard in recent memory. Now, when Kanye is not creating these massive spectacles that are clearly designed for clubs and tours, he spends the rest of his time on this record guiding us through his own headspace, but not through detailed storytelling, and rather through fiery bursts of his own emotions. Whether this is talking about some of the desires he still wants to fulfill in his lifetime or addressing his feelings about the world, Kanye West talks about a lot on this album and carries an energy with him that, despite the release of Vultures marking his 20th year in the rap game, while most rappers are uninspired and washed up by this point in their career, Ye sounds just about as inspired as he possibly can be. A track like Burn embodies this better than nearly everything else, as Ye spits a verse that is so energetic and on point that it brings you all the way back to the late Registration era. It is that good. Now, while the consistency of Kanye's writing isn't strong enough for everything to feel this important and special, a decent amount of other cuts also show us some of Ye's better verses in quite some time. The song Problematic is one of the very best moments on the entire record, as Kanye brings this same type of energy and prowess to deliver a lyrical and emotional performance that is one of his most personal and raw in years, and this makes for one of Kanye's most memorable tracks in a pretty long time. Now, while overall it would have been nice to see Kanye deliver more verses with this same type of depth and life to them, I still think even with all of the banter we see on a lot of other tracks, Ye still gets the point he is trying to get across with this project, and I think this is due to both the soundscape, which feels so cutting edge even for recent Ye standards, and also because of Kanye's presence itself. Kanye references all he has lost on this record, from his former marriage to money to his reputation, in quick bursts throughout a lot of these songs, and overall, this channels an aura around this entire project of resilience, as in spite of all of the controversy and all of the backlash and all of the obstacles Kanye has faced, he is still standing here telling us that he's still on top. Now, whether you're happy or livid about this, overall what Vultures proves is that for better or for worse, The only person who will ever be able to stop Kanye West is himself, and for this reason, the impact this album and its future installments are going to have will definitely change a lot about the music industry and also will push hip-hop artistry forward, as anytime Kanye is active, a lot of artists get bigger stages to shine on than ever and push themselves to deliver some of their most cutting-edge material. Now beyond this, I don't know where I'd rank Vultures in Kanye's catalog, but if I had to rate it based on my first impressions, I think I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10, as the insane production, memorable performances, and just sheer excitement this record puts all together makes it better than 99% of what rap has to offer today. So let me know, what are your thoughts on Vultures? I can't wait to hear what you have to say, so please go to the comments and tell me. Thank you for watching, your support means everything. Mr. F, Fantastic Hip Hop, signing out, catch you in the next video.